that this draft seems to be weak in terms of tight end. How do you view that position?
Yeah, Mike had a tremendous role for us last year. I think especially as the season evolved and we got to know him better, we're able to use him in a way that best utilized his skills. He and Joe have a great relationship, very productive for us, a really good matchup for us, especially as the year went on there. So really high on Mike Gesicki, and again, that's something we're working through to make sure he's still in the fold. You know, like most years, there's really good players in there, but you're going to make sure you got the guys that fit us. And so, you know, there's key moments in the draft where those guys become available to you at that position, and we're very particular in what we're looking for there. And so, again, it's just got to fit us at the right spot, the right time, and in conjunction with the other needs that we have on our team as well.
Zac, you talk a lot about the culture in this team. When you're looking at a draft prospect, who you look for in a guy that can fit the culture that you're looking for?
Well, certainly when he's got his life in order, he's able to go out there and be the best football player imaginable and raise the level of his teammates and those around him. Somebody that all those guys can count on. We want talented players, number one. But when they're a talented person as well, it just makes everyone's life a little bit easier and a little bit calmer. And so you try to balance that as you look at all these prospects at different positions and things they've been through in their life, and just making sure that we have the best fit for the Cincinnati Bengals. Go ahead, Marshall.
What's been different now when evaluating defensive players without him?
Well, I can't answer what's different. I can just talk to you about Al. And Al's very involved, very thorough. He's always been that way. I mean, Al was here, did 3 linebackers in one class, and all 3 of those guys got through their first contracts with us. So I know we're all very proud of that fact, you know, and so he's very thorough with how he evaluates these guys. He's got a long track record of doing that, developing players at Temple, going to Miami, being in Detroit, being here, going through the whole process in this league, obviously doing a great job at Notre Dame, assisting with Coach Freeman and the job they did there to get to the national championship. And so we have really high expectations for his role in the evaluations of our players in free agency and the draft. And I know Al loves those expectations and can't wait to meet him. I think that's the cornerback position is an area. It's great to see you, Charlie. Is a cornerback position that we've got a lot of youth there, a lot of potential there. Guys at different points have really risen to the occasion, and so we have high expectations for that group as a whole. Feel really good about the group that we have coming back. Some guys off of injury that missed time last year, so just really feel like that's a young, hungry position group. I think Chuck's done an excellent job with those guys, helping them develop. Will help them reach their potential, and so just really excited about that group and the depth that we have coming back.
New offensive line coach Don Peters mentioned that the run game was going to be coordinated and
Yeah.
the coaching staff. Is that a decision you guys came to near the end of last season, or is that something you guys have decided during the offseason that was the best course of action?
That's just what we've gotten to at this point. You know, we have so many capable coaches on our offense side of the ball. James Casey, Justin Hill, guys that can really insert themselves into the run game, that have been here for a long time. They understand the guys we have and the talent levels we have and how to best utilize those guys. So certainly that'll be a more collaborative process. And again, always believed in how we've done it and just not afraid to continue to evolve how we do that, to just try to make the offense the best it can possibly be for the Cincinnati Bengals.
There's been a lot of conversations about contracts with free agents and margins. Can you talk a little bit about the other receivers like
Andre Yoshavas has continued to grow every single year he's been with us. So going into year 3 now, he works really hard in the offseason to raise up any weaknesses that he's perceived to have and come back stronger in those areas. We're really excited about it. He can play really all 3 spots for us on offense. One of those guys that's willing to do whatever it takes to get the job done. And when the ball comes his way, he's just got a knack for making big plays for us. You know, he's defeated some high-end corners in one-on-one, high-leverage situations this year, so we know we can count on him in those moments. Scramble drill, he's had some tremendous third-down conversions for us where Joe's knows he's able to find him and get in sync and find some explosives. He's done a great job in the run game for us as well. High-level player coming from Princeton is able to retain all the information and execute at a high level. Really excited for the trajectory that Andre's on. And Charlie's another guy. He's fought through injuries over the course of the season. We've got high expectations for him going into year 3 as well. There's a reason we drafted him. Charlie's been in the building as much as anybody, trying to get right for 2025 and put his best foot forward also. Well, number one, it's good to have great players that want to be rewarded. That's a great problem to have. And, with Jamar, we certainly want to make him the highest paid non-quarterback in this league. He's deserved that. Went into a year and won the Triple Crown and did all the things he could do for us to just have a tremendous year. So we'll continue to work through for that. T. Higgins, same time, working on a long-term deal with him. We want T around here, not just next year, but in the future. And T's been a big part of all the wins that we've had and keeping defenses accountable so Jamar can have his best days and Joe can have his best days and T. And so, again, that's a trio that we want to keep together, and we feel like we're best when we have those guys.
About 2 months now since the season ended, as you went back and watched the film of the year, do you feel like, you guys are making a piece away, or what more do you need now to get back to that,
Yeah, well, certainly we got to start faster. I think, the way we ended, winning 5 games in a row to finish the season, we felt like we were playing at a high level and capable of doing damage in the playoffs, but it was our responsibility to do a better job early in the season to put ourselves in position to capitalize on that, and we didn't do that. And so none of those games really felt like they got away from us. They were all one-play games at the end that we just did not finish. And so we have to do a better job of starting fast and finishing with the opportunities we get this season in order to put ourselves in position to win the division, have some home field playoff games, and give ourselves the best shot to go win the Super Bowl.
What specific things on offense to finishing?
Yeah. Well, there's always things within the pass. I know we had the number 1 pass game in the NFL last year, but there's still things within that that we want to continue to evolve our play actions and our screens and keep people accountable that way. I think playing with a lead, we got to do a better job. I'm not going to say we don't always start fast on offense, but I think those first 2 possessions, getting points on the board and taking control of the game to where now you can open up your offense a little bit more to keep defenses more honest. And so those are areas where we continue to improve in the pass game. And then just the run game in the whole, supplementing that. We continue to look for ways to evolve. And now with Scott coming in and Mike McCarthy and some of the other guys on offense, that's something we'll continue to shape up over the course of the offseason. So when the players come in, we got a clear direction on what we're asking of them.
Are you looking to get bigger, tougher, and stronger on both sides?
Hard to get bigger on the offensive line. I think we've got the biggest giants on this planet Earth. But it's certainly something we want the players that best fit what we want to do schematically. So size, skill, speed, that all factors into it. I don't want to put the guys in one category of exactly how we're going to shape it out. This is an exciting part to see guys walk in the room every single night here at the Combine that all look a little bit differently, and they've all got their skills. And so now piecing that together with the guys we currently have, the guys in free agency, the guys in the draft, we'll see how that unfolds over the next couple months.
You touched on it briefly. Zach Moss expected to be healthy this summer.
We're still working through that. It's always a scary deal with a neck injury, and he's doing his best to be able to come back healthy off of that. And so, again, that's a decision we'll keep working through.
When you evaluate, running backs in the draft, when you watch the film, what are the things that you're looking for? Whether it's, the little intangibles when you watch a running back film?
Well, how do they do with the ball in their hands? Okay, whether that's run the ball, the vision that they have within the scheme, because all their schemes are a little bit different as you watch each of these guys. It's all, they have different backgrounds of what they majored in. We want guys that can catch the ball out of the backfield with the amount that we throw it. We don't want a guy that just comes in there, can only carry the ball, only pass protect. You have to be able to get out and keep the defense honest from that perspective. And then pass protection. With Chase right now as our primary first and second down back, when can you give him a break? He's capable of playing on third down. Sometimes we put him every snap of the game as we did it, but you want to take some of that off of him. So you want a guy that can carry the ball also on first, second down, but be able to protect in the pass game as well. And sometimes that's harder to find on college tape than others. Some guys are not asked to do that. Some guys, their protections are pretty simplified where you don't get to see everything you want to see on tape, but you get a chance to meet with those guys and understand their capability of understanding what they're being asked to do and what we're going to ask them to do, and that's part of the information we have to parse through during this process.
Going back to last season, one of the big storylines was the losses and not scoring is generally tight games. Now it's some time to reflect on it. What do you think you can do as a coach to put the team in a position to be on the other side of those tight games next year?
Yeah, we've had years where we've been on the other side of that. So this is one of those years we just weren't able to make the plays at key moments earlier in the game that would have allowed the games to separate. So it doesn't need to always come down to the last kick of a game or the last two-point conversion of a game. There's opportunities that you can take hold of in the second or third quarter to where we can run away with some games. And I'd much rather focus on running away with some games than being in these tight games. But we've got a history with a lot of guys on this team of closing games out, and we're going to get back to that this year.
What can you learn about a guy at the combine that
For me, it's a starting point. It's maybe your first face-to-face interaction. So sometimes you don't walk away learning a whole lot in an 18-minute interview. You get a general sense of the player and who they are and their background and what makes them tick. And it's something that you can then try to learn more as you move forward in the process. So we've watched the tape on these guys, more so Duke and that staff. I've watched them all thoroughly. Our coaching staff is getting up to speed on that now. So I get a chance, just an introductory foundation, who this person is. We need to do more research as we move forward. And so really just that beginning part of the process for us as coaches at least.
Trying to make very clear players. Is your goal to test these guys and see where they're all now, or more about establishing?
Hear them talk. They don't walk in the room and we attack them right out the gate. That's not exactly how we operate. So we're looking for the background information to clean some things up because maybe it's the first time we've talked to them outside of the Senior Bowl or a Shrine Game or something like that. And then you get a chance just to watch some tape with them and hear them talk football, hear them how were they coached, how do they respond to coaching. So again, it's a process that our scouts drive and our coaches supplement. And so the position coach is usually up there talking through some plays with them as we get going.
A lot of the AFC North defenses, kind of built similarly, starter directors.
Can you start over again? I'm sorry.
A lot of AFC North defenses, built similarly, starter directors, downhill safeties. Is there anything that maybe Al is bringing in now as he comes into this role, or maybe you're considering in the draft that kind of maybe change from the norm of how the defense has been built?
Well, we're going to do what our players do best. We're going to put them in the best positions on defense with Al to make sure these guys can play up to their potential. That's key number one, is who we have in the building, what can they do best. We've certainly got schemes that we believe in, and you can mix some of that stuff up. But number one is what players do we have in the building, how can they play the best to be at a championship level, and then we're not afraid to adjust from there. And so that's a process that takes place. It's every day we're in there watching defensive tape with these new coaches, making sure we iron out our foundation. We'll get the players in the building, we'll respond to them, and then we'll adjust it as we need to go forward.
A lot of players have talked about some of the out of left field and crazy questions they got in the combine. What's the craziest most out of left field question you've heard in the combine?
I wouldn't say that I've really been a part of something out of left field like that as combine questions go. It's been pretty tame is maybe the best word, and I'm not ashamed of that. I think that's the right way for us to do it, to try to gain the most information so they can just be their true self and feel comfortable in the environment, and then we take the information as we see fit.
You never as a young coach.
Go ahead, James. I'll come back to you in a second. Yeah.
Having that about how crucial it is, not just getting them to pick right from the talent center, but knowing the plan.
The plan for it's critical to have alignment between the front office, Duke and his staff, and our coaching staff, and that's something we take great pride in. Going into the 7th year I've been here, and I wouldn't change anything about our process. I think Duke and his staff do an excellent job of, as much as humanly possibly, coming down to the coaches, asking what we look for, what we need, and then collaborating with them and how they see these guys, and such thorough conversations. And I never walk away on draft day feeling like, man, coaches didn't get enough to say what they need to say about a player. All those conversations, sometimes hard conversations, are always had. And Duke does an excellent job of driving those conversations and making sure you might not see eye to eye, so we're going to do all the information we can, gather all the information on the player to make sure that we come to a conclusion on them. And so really respect the process that Duke has ironed out for us over these years and the wealth of experience he and his group have. And again, I wouldn't change a thing about how we go about that process.
Process, styles, potentially changes, basis on the coaching staff's happy. I know you know how.
Yeah, with the new coaches, I don't see the process changing. Again, that's driven by Duke and his staff. This is their season. We're supplementing that. And so, again, we'll thoroughly go on the road and do an evaluation. We need to at the pro days. We sit in the office. We watch all the tape. Coaches write the reports. And then Duke takes that information, and we have the conversations from there. But, again, very thorough process that we firmly believe in.
Touch on the idea that the player might not have been asked to do some of the things that are required for your team in college. Might not be
Yeah.
What makes you willing to take a little bit of a risk and draft a player like that versus maybe sit back and play the same with someone else?
You got to do all the background on the football character. What are they capable of? What drives them? Is it a player that's not going to put in a lot of work, didn't do all the things we're going to ask him to do, and it's a real unknown or risk? And so you just have to balance all that. And It's never perfect. You've got our scouts have done a great job over the last 2 years evaluating each of these guys that are finally here. And then we'll get all the hands-on information we can get over these next 3 months to get to that conclusion. It's not a perfect science. You hit home runs on some guys and you miss on a couple. And we just do our best to get all that information to make the right decisions for our team. I know, Marshall, you had one more.
Have you ever come out of the combine and thought to yourself, there was a guy that wasn't even on our radar? It wasn't because of what he did or said in the combine. Now we're really serious.
Well, if he wasn't on our radar, we wouldn't hear what he said, because usually that's the guys that Duke and Potts and all those guys bring in because we want to learn more information about them for various reasons. Those guys, we take notes on all these guys, and so some we got to follow up on, some we don't. I'd say Chris Jenkins was a guy last year that the first time I ever heard him talk was in the combine interview, and it's just A+. This guy's not a lot more information I need on this player because you can just tell from the character and personality and what drives him. Like in 18 minutes, you can get a great feel for who that young man is, and it's supplemented by all the things you heard from Michigan. And so that's an example of an A+. Not a whole lot more we need to dig into this person's character. I'm sure I could give you plenty more examples of maybe some character we need to dive into after 18 minutes. But again, that's what the combine's here for, and that's why you always see the Cincinnati Bengals show up and get the most out of it.
As a young coach, you didn't show up to the combine like looking forward to asking an off-the-wall question like when you were just getting into coaching.
My first interview was with Kellen Moore, and I think it was the worst interview anyone's ever done in their lifetime because it was the first time I'd been in the room. I didn't watch anybody else do it first. It was maybe the first interview we had with the Dolphins, and so I don't know really how it's going to work. And I just was buttering him up the whole time, showing him great clips and telling him how great he was. That's what I remember. It was 5 clips, and everyone in the room was like, when are we going to start getting into the questions? And basically, I'm just saying, man, you're so great, Kellen. It's like, top completion percentage of all time, won all these games, and so that was an example of one that I felt went really sideways for 15 minutes. And, what has Kellen done since that moment? Nothing. So I'm just kidding. Kellen's a guy that there's no surprise where he's at today because of all the things that he's put on tape since high school.
Can you talk a little bit about Sam Hubbard and what he's meant to the team and how to Cincinnati future kind of question?
Yeah, Sam Hubbard, one of my all-time favorites until the day I die, just because this dude's all ball. He's all about the team. He's represented himself and his family and community that way since Moore to Ohio State to Cincinnati Bengals. You're going to talk to every person in that man's life, and they're all going to tell you the same thing. One of the greatest people ever be around. Really cared more about others than he cared about himself, quite frankly, and that's why he's experienced all the success. Because when you've got a team full of Sam Hubbards, then you're going to achieve success because they're just doing what's best for everybody else and willing to make sacrifices. And I had to beg him to go out there to run that pass route and catch a touchdown pass, on his final play of the season. But again, Sam's one of those guys that, is just one of the all-time favorites.
How do you feel about VR training and quarterbacks?
VR training and quarterbacks has a long history, a 10-year history probably in this league of different companies implementing it, and I can think of 20 times I've been at the combine watching VR deals, and I can't speak on all of them. I know some guys have had tremendous experience with them, and I think you got to be open as this thing continues to evolve with technology and VR and AI, and those are things that we're always open to and willing to go listen to and see if it's the best fit for us. I know some teams have had experience in a very positive way dealing with that kind of stuff. So, again, that's something we spend time every year researching and seeing what the best fit is for us. No. You usually go and they're trying to sell it to you, first of all. So you're going through yourself of what a player would be going through if they're utilizing that training.
Do you think the complementary pass rusher alongside Trey Hendrickson is already on the roster, or is that something you think the team needs to address this offseason?
I think we're always looking at every single position, how we can make ourselves better. So we've got Trey Henderson, who's an elite pass rusher, has led the league in sacks this last season. Over the course of the last 4 or 5 years, he's led the league. So he's one of the best to do it, and we're always looking at ways to improve around him. We've got some young guys that we believe in, we'll continue to invest in, and we're always open to adding more weapons to that as well. Okay, thank you.
I would suggest this thing's over. So I think it's probably better to move over here. Right here. But you have to jump over it. I'm a more guy.